All over the country will fight the cancer disease with a run. As we all know, cancer not only affects women but men too, and sometimes it's quite a daunting topic for men to tackle because not many of them are willing to get tested. In preparation for the run, I'm seated with lymphatic cancer survivor and daredevil himself, Eddy Rust, as well as the Chief Marketing Officer, Heidi Brauer at Hollard Insurance. Guys, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Heidi, before I talk to you about kind of the initiative and why you're so passionate about it, Eddy, just for a lot of our viewers this morning, this has become such an annual calendar event, but with all the fun aspects to it, it is a serious issue. People are not talking about cancer. The right people, there are still stereotypes about who should be talking about it, when should be talking about it. Your story very quickly.
I think you're 100% right. I think I grew up in a community. I always say to people, I grew up in the States and the Free States. And people always thought that illness, especially cancer, is something that happens to old people. And that's when I was diagnosed. I was young. I'm still young. I always tell people I'm 35 plus VAT. I was fit, and you don't think that you get sick. And then I was diagnosed, and it was this hell of a wake-up call because illness only happens, or cancer only happens to older people. So it was this journey of and it's on Sunday it's 15 years. That you thank you, and it's you fight the fight the whole time because you want to be normal. So you think that you're not normal when you're sick. And that's the nice thing about Daredevil, because we as South Africans, especially South African men, will talk about our favorite football team that have lost a game, or we'll talk about what happens with your wife and children and things, but we'll never talk about the serious stuff that happens in the bedroom or why it's not happening, or like I said, the words, the crown jewels, we don't check them. And that's where the Daredevil Run actually makes it so nice, because we've changed that perception that we are okay talking about these things and talking about the illness.
One of the things you mentioned off air is that for 3 months you didn't tell your family members, but just educate us quickly. You had lymphatic cancer. What is that?
I always, the nicest I can, from a medical point of view, it just sounds, it will not make sense. But it's exactly, I'm a car person, so I say it's like when you're not taking your car for a service. So you don't have new filters, petrol filters, oil filters, or plugs or anything like that. At one stage in your life, of the car's life, it's going to decide, listen, I'm not going to run anymore. So my blood never gets cleaned, actually. So what eventually happens is that your whole body, your lungs, your heart, everything goes into failure. So if you could choose a cancer, it's one of the cancers that you could choose, because you can live very long with it. Or you decide to fight it from the beginning, because a lot of people, when they get sick and they hear you've got cancer, they see it as a death sentence and not a life sentence. And you have immediately that choice to accept it and actually go backwards and maybe die, or you decide to fight it.
Heidi, let me bring you into that conversation, because I like what Eddy's saying. You can either accept it as a death sentence or a life sentence. You have been so incredibly passionate about the Daredevil Run. Where did this relationship start? Because I do think that getting men to talk about something that not actually only affects the person, but an entire family, an entire community.
So Daredevil started literally as a dare. A bunch of guys in a pub dared one of them to run down the road in his Speedo, and then he said, I'll make a donation to a cancer charity for you. So it literally became something out of one dare. And it's grown into, this is our 7th year, and it's just, it grows every year because it's such a passionate, heartfelt initiative. It's not something we sponsor, it's something that's part of Hollard. It was born in Hollard. We believe in having courageous conversations, in doing things differently, and this is a real way to make conversations happen wholeheartedly.
Let's talk about that courageous conversation, because have we seen, and this is a question to both of you, has the nature of the conversation changed from last year to this year? Are more, and I don't want to racialize it, but are more black men speaking out? Are more white men embracing the topic? Are more colored men coming to the table?
So, it's an interesting thing you ask, and I suppose it's always best to talk closest to home. So our exco team is a mixture of all colours and genders of people, and when I say to my team who's running, the black men go, oh, no, it's not a black men thing. So I run to statistics to help me, and actually prostate cancer is more prevalent amongst white men, but testicular amongst black men. And when I present them with that fact, suddenly it's a different story. Because this is about all of us caring and understanding what potentially could happen to our bodies and to having awareness for it and the things that we can do to prevent it. So a simple self-examination, simple finger prick prostate specific antigen test, and then suddenly you're connected to something that you weren't connected to before. And really running 5Ks is much, speedo is easier than dealing with cancer.
Very quickly, Eddy.
I also say the same thing. Prevention is better than cure, and it's cheaper as well. And I remember last year, one of the things that was really amazing is that there were people with posters or even written on their bodies saying, I'm running for dad, or I'm running for a friend, and that support. And even I went up to people and said, did you lose your dad? Tell me about it. And let me tell you, the way that they'll talk, especially on the African men, because they don't talk. And with a company like Cancer, the organization which we support, they really go to the townships and the small places for men and women cancers.
And do the roadshow.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Guys, unfortunately, we run out of time. I will definitely be there to support you. If you have a Speedo body or not, you can tackle it in a purple Speedo next weekend. Register online at www.daredevilrun.com, where you're only spending 150 Rand and it will secure your place. Be part of the movement by cheering these brave runners on, and use the hashtag Daredevil Run on Twitter. For additional information, you can visit their Facebook page. It's called Daredevil Run. Go out and support it. Take your friends, your family, and your enemies. It's a great thing to do. Heidi Brauer from Hollard Insurance, the Chief Marketing Officer, and Eddy Rust, he's well known. He is a daredevil. He is a daredevil, and he is a lymphatic cancer survivor. We take an ad break, don't go anywhere.